Hello everybody, I hope you're well. Welcome to another exciting episode. Today's said episode is going to be all about how we're going to effectively put the foundations in for this rear dormer. Because what it's got to do is come off the existing wall of the house down there. So I think Richard's explained how we were going to do that from the inside, but now we're actually going to do it. So if any of that didn't make sense or you're still wondering, I've got some questions, we're actually going to be doing it now. So a little practical demonstration for you. We should be able to get it all nice and clear in your minds. Basically, I am now going to just strip these two bottom course of tiles off. Might have to be 3, but I'm hoping to get rid of 2. And then that will expose the wall on the inside, and then from that we'll be able to show you exactly where our timbers are going to go, how we're going to set them onto the existing wall, and then we'll go from there. So it'll all become apparent. Stick with us and let's get cracking. So the first thing we're going to do, as I've said, is get rid of these 2 coarser tiles. Now how you do that, if ever you need to get up on your roof and replace a tile or anything like that, use scaffold please. I'm not telling you should get up there with a ladder or anything. So we'll get rid of them 2. We're going to try and keep the 3rd one, and all you do is you push these up like so, and that exposes that tile. Then it's nailed typically, so then we can just take those off. So you go all the way along. The 1 course above that you need, expose all that, and then they just lift off down then. So that's what we're going to do, and next time you see us it'll be all off. I've pushed up the 4th course to expose the 3rd one. Again, those are randomly nailed. I can work with them the way they are. And I've got this quite a convenient lap of felt there. So what I'm going to do now that felt is exposed, or that lap is exposed all the way down, I'm going to get some of our felt or membrane, don't tell me off. I'm going to slip it under there, staple it down, and then what I can do then is take these off, which need to come off for us to do our job. I'll just lift them off and lay them back, just move them up onto this course all the way along, and then pull the 4th course back down over that, and then that then is sufficiently covered with our new felt coming down. It's only temporary felt, obviously, because it's all going, because this is going to be one big dormer. It's just to keep it watertight in case we get a downpour, and it's spitted a bit, but I think we're going to be all right. So that'll be covered then, and then I can fold that that felt up out of our way, and then cut all the exposed existing felt out, and then do our work. And if there's a big downpour, flap down, weight down, and then we're done. Got that felt under. It's only under a little bit, not massively, maybe 100 mil or something, and I'll just put only a couple of staples in, just so it doesn't slip down as we're working. Agonisingly short look at the end. Oh man, we've got some more stuff around there. I'll do that in a sec. I'll just do this to show you what we're doing. So then my plan is take the bottom course off, lay them like so, pull that one down and do that all the way across. That means we're covered then. Our felt is to about there. That's all nicely covered. Once that's done, fold this back, pin it back so it's out the way, and then I can cut all the existing old felt out, take all the lafts off below it, and give ourselves a clean working space. Just took the felt off. Look at these, man. That nest the size of a football, there's loads of them. Luckily they're all inactive now, but because of cobwebs as well. Ugh, I'm not a massive fan of the old creepies, but we got Mark here, the man's man. He'll get rid of them for me. So we'll clean this out, and then we'll start bedding these plates on for these timbers, and we'll explain exactly how we're going to do that and what we're doing. Right then, all cleaned off, all cleaned out, so now we can finally get onto the job at hand. So, not too sure how much Rich has explained the process of what we're going to do now, but now we can actually show you. So I'll turn you around and we'll go through it. This is what we're... Start again. As soon as I press play on this, or not record, I go... I'll get all gobbly-gooped up. But right. I know, it is, yeah. Yeah, no one's even looking at me. So this is what we've... yeah, that'll be the day, eh? This is what we're exposed. So this is the original house. This is how it's traditionally built. We've got the wall plate, which is sat on a bed of compo, which is sat directly on top of the existing walls, the load-bearing walls, the exterior walls, basically. And then your roof is fixed to this via the wall plate, so all the weight of the roof is transferred down onto the walls of the house. So that's something that we've got to emulate here, because our dormer is coming off our house, our walls. So how are we going to do that? Well, being that the structural engineer and the building inspector have no issue with us putting the steels, load-bearing steels or load-bearing timbers onto plates like this, as specified in the structural report, what we're going to do is we're going to cut out, which has already started to do, we're going to cut out the wall plate in between the existing rafters, which will look like that. Then I'm going to take out from up here, I'm going to chop out all the compo, the bed of compo, and take it back to brick, which means we will get back to something like that. Then I'm going to bed our steel plates on nice and high, like so, and then Richard's going to come along and put his timbers on top of our bed, on top of our steel there, level them through, so he comes off his steel there nice and level, nice and true. This end hopefully be a bit too high for him, and then he can gently tap down the timber, which will tap down the plate. We'll have play in the mortar bed, and he'll get it spot on, and then we'll just continue all the way along like that, and then we'll have a nice level floor that will be built off structural plates off our existing wall. And then what we can do off that, once all that's gone off tomorrow, overnight, it should be fine. And then we'll move on, and we'll explain in more detail a bit later, is we're going to start putting, what's it called, a stormer wall?
A stall riser.
Stall riser.
It's terminology used in shop fronts.
There we go. Can you see a Rich there?
Under your shop windows and all your panelling on your shop fronts, to set out your start, just to set your stall out, like the term goes.
Gotcha. Okay. So what we can do then is build our stall wall off what we're going to install today, which will then stick out of the roof, maybe about this side, that's a guess. But what it means is all that can stay in. So we're all completely waterproof like that. And then that will basically give us a foundation. Sorry?
That, if you put that, have that, what will happen is that will sit on top of the plate at the side of this.
There we go.
On top of that side of that.
Like so.
And we'll bolt that in. That'll be bolted down or sat on your plate, and then that'll stick above the roof. You can put a header plate on that then, and that's where you build your dormer off. Okay,
so just in case you're going to hear that, once our plate is bedded on, let's say that's bedded on there, that's then going to be bolted on to our timber there. That one might have to go a bit more, so that's nice and high. So then we're stuck out the roof there. So we're basically building a foundation for our dormer that's going to stick out the roof, which means the roof can stay on, so we're nice and watertight, and then we can build our dormer around the existing roof. We haven't got to worry about any water ingress should the weather change. So we'll crack on with that, and then we'll catch up in a bit. So what I'm going to do here, just to save measuring everyone, just get the plates, they're all the same size. I'm going to put them in the middle of our rafters, and I'm just going to cut down either side, give myself a few mil to play with. Bloody hell. Through. Okay. And then what we'll do, clean that compo off, repeat all the way down. Okay, so we're set up now. Inside we've got some plasterboard props set up, and we've just propped these timbers just to get them nice and high out the way. They're about 10mm high at the minute. Now I'm going to bed my steel plates on, like so. Put some compo under, get them as tight as I can underneath, and then on the inside, once I've got plates under each one of these existing ones, Rich is then going to lay them level to the laser board. The laser line inside. So he'll explain that in a second. So we'll just get these on best I can.
You want me to leave this rolling up?
Yeah,
So
please, mate.
You're ready to go?
Yeah. And then the others will be easier because the timbers aren't in yet. So what we'll do with the others is bed these on and then place the timbers on top. We needed these on to make sure we knew what we were doing. I think that's going to be under that. Okay, that goes under. Rightio. And then Rich, if you just dip that and just make sure that we're still high. Got there, Rich?
We've got 310.
Okay.
So we can knock that down.
So we know we're high there. So what we'll do, we'll get these in, and then we'll go along and we'll dip them all in one go. All the way across for the ones that have already been installed pre doing any of this. So they're all being dipped now, and they're exactly, the bottom of that timber is exactly 300mm up from our laser on the inside that Richard showed you. So now what we're doing is that we can bed these on beforehand, which is obviously going to be a lot easier. So if I can do it one hand, let's get some compo. Give it quite a generous bed. Bed our plate on, like so. And then the lads inside can put their timber on top of that. Nice and gently, just so it doesn't squish all the compo out, but it is going off. As soon as it's touching these bricks, it's just soaking all the moisture out of it. So it's it can take a bit of a kicking. And they're fixing it just with one screw at the correct height at the steel in there. Like so. And then Richie's dipping it as per and telling me how much it needs to come down.
Okay, we've got 304.
304, so we've got to come down 4mm.
Go on, 302. One more. Ooh, give me half a. Oh yeah.
And there we go, that's it. That timber is now exactly where we want it, nicely on our plate, which is taking a load straight onto our wall. And then we're going to continue that now, all the way across. And then that is our flooring and basically our foundationing to start the dormer. They're all set now. Just got that one to put in, but where it meets the timber inside, it's where the steel meets the steel, so there's a bit messing around to do that one internally. But it won't stop us now, that is it. They're all in, all the way across. So now let that go off for the night, and then we can start building off it tomorrow. Right, new day. All our steels have gone off. All our mortar's gone off under our steels there, so we'll go into a bit more depth now, in depth. I'll ask Rich to explain what exactly we're trying to achieve around there. Whilst he's just been sorting himself out. Mick's not here. Me and Mark, that's Mark. Don't recognise him with his clothes on. Me and Mark have been putting these tiles back on, up to purling. Our purling is about here somewhere, so we don't want to go any higher than that because we've still got to take the ridge out along the top, so we don't want any weight on there, unnecessary weight, so we're not going to load that out. So those tiles are on there now. We use the ones from the back that we took off just so they're out of Rich's way, and recycle them around here. And then we'll continue that at a later date once that's in then. It's just down there, we'll just chuck them straight down, providing the neighbour's car isn't there. Right then, so we'll go around now, I'll hand you over to Rich and he'll explain exactly what he's doing around there, and then we'll crack on. Right, we're rolling, go for it.
Good morning. So all we're doing now is strip this roof back, and I've made these uprights now for the whole store riser thing. So what's going to happen now is that'll go on there like that, all the way along on the steel, and then what happens is I'll get a line on this one first, line on that end, so all these are all in true and in line all the way along. And then what happens then is I'll get a full length timber. Imagine this is full length timber, like that, all the way across, all the way through. And then I'll bolt this down. These get fixed to the floor joists with these 70mm turbo coach screws into there and nailed. And what I'm doing first is just a bit of belts and braces, because these are going to be cut off. These will be cut off at the back of our wall. So if you can imagine, that's our wall now. We'll be cutting these off. So we'll be 70mm coach screwing these to this as well. There's another timber that is on here, so I'll put the timber there like that. But what I'm doing first off is, again, belts and braces. I've got a bracket. I'll fix the 40mm coach screw into all the ones that I can get a good brick underneath, and then I've put a 6-inch concrete bolt all the way through, so we get a good fix it into the brickwork below. Luckily the brickwork's whole, so it's solid. So I'm getting some really good fixings all the way across. There's some that I can't do where the bricks are a bit dodgy, but this is belt and braces for me, so it gives me a bit more peace of mind that we're clamping everything down as well, because once this is screwed to this and this is screwed to this, it's just an extra solid point. And don't forget as well, we are going to be putting wall plate straps on as well, which are spec onto the face of the frame on the internal, to bolt it all down to the wall plate as well, or bolt it down.
So essentially, using my bricklaying mind, we're coming up to damp now, aren't we?
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
And then from that point on, then we start building the walls, and then go from there.
So that would be your damp then.
Yeah.
And then I'm putting my wall on top of that.
Excellent.
But again, just to reiterate, this is only because this isn't the way to do it. This is because I want to be able to do, end of the day, pull this over, flap it over the top, and be covered again. While I'm building my walls, rather than having this all open, putting walls up and the weather turning on us. So.
Which it doesn't look like it's going to any time soon, but it will do, though, won't it?
No, we never know, do we?
It will do.
Yesterday it rained a couple of times, didn't it? Wasn't
It did.
Meant to, so.
Excellent. They're all fired in, just with nails at the moment. Hopefully now you can sort of see what we're getting at, for what we're trying to achieve. We'll just put one either side, put the line on, and they're all straight, true, level. So we can build effectively a sole plate straight on top of that now, straight the way across, and start building our walls off that. And at any point the weather turns, flaps down, no issue at all. You haven't got to worry too much about this bit here, because that is actually out the building anyway. I don't know whether you can see that. And there's a good 300mm overhang, so the outside of the house is actually just there. This isn't as important. So what we're doing, as well as belt and braces, whether it's needed or not, is going around with my new impact wrench and just firing one of these coach screws all the way through. Difficult to do one hand, but yeah, there we go, and we'll continue that all the way across now. And there we have it, all fairly self-explanatory now, isn't it? After all that explaining, trying to make sure we're doing it all clear and you're following us. All I've got really to do is show you that. It's all quite simple. One issue that we have had is that if we go onto the drawings and we measure the dormer straight the way across, in reality we're actually about 1500mm shorter, because the drawings show us coming right to the boundary wall, which is in the middle of that chimney there, and then the same as good as coming straight to that. Well, we can't do that, we can't fix into that chimney. We we just can't. So we're going to bring it in a bit, keep these bits of tiles in. We'll take it off, refelt it and redo, but those, as it stands, those actually remain, and then the dormer actually start about there. About there. If I have any issues with that chimney in the future, where I want to get rid of it and whatnot, and we've built into it, it's a whole world of pain. So we're going to step it all in. So it's took a lot of deliberation of how we can gain the room sizes back in the windows and whatnot, but we've sorted it now. We've sorted it. All we've had to do is just squeeze a couple of the panels between the two windows a bit smaller, and they're having exactly what they want anyway. So as you can see here, it's a bit dusty. We've marked out exactly where our studs are going to be, as denoted by the X, and then we've got the cripple leg next to that. We'll go into more detail about that once you actually start building it. You'll see what that is. And there we go. We're all set up now, which means that Richard is in his absolute element, because he's down there basically building the dormer. Down there, look, he's got his radio on. He's got his saw out. He's in the sun. He's happy. Look at him.
It doesn't get any better than this, Ad.
Doesn't get any better.
Any better than
No, no. You keep telling yourself that.
Well, I wouldn't tell my wife that, obviously, but when I'm at work.
She's not a subscriber then, no?
When I'm she is it all the time off me as soon as I get in the house.
Fair enough.
So she doesn't watch me what I do. She's
Excellent. So he's doing that. He's essentially building the front dormer, or like in modular sections, so to speak, and then we're going to hoist them up, and then we're going to fix them. So while he's doing that, me and Mark are making ourselves busy, and we've took the top two courser tiles off, and we're going to lap that straight the way over the felt, the flapping felt there, over, nail that down so the ridge is 100% protected, and then we're going to start exposing the roof here for our cheeks. This rafter here is going to have to be turned into a triple rafter, so we need to expose all that. I'm going to go from there out in order for us to strengthen that timber up, and then we're going to refelt it on a temporary basis so it's watertight, and then it obviously needs to be emulated this side as well. So from here, taking those tiles out all the way up from down there, and then cutting the felt back, and then putting new felt on, ready to be peeled back either later today or maybe tomorrow, in order for us to fix our timbers there. And then it's all systems go then. Then the only real snag is getting the ridge beam in, which will take a bit of time, in order for us to build our roof off our new structure here into what will be our new ridge once that steel's in. So we'll crack on with that, and then as soon as Richard's finished, we'll hoist them up, and we'll show you us doing that. Oh, inspector's here.